Casper's number one for New Country, My Country 95.5. You are spending a Wednesday morning with me, Doc.
And Prairie Wife.
And it's a very special guest, Prairie Wife. We said that this special lady was going to be a part of the show today. Tell everybody who we're talking to.
So this is Reagan Scott. Welcome, Reagan.
Hello, thank you.
Don't worry, we're going to go easy on you.
We're a little
I promise.
scarier in person,
I
aren't we?
promise. So Reagan has been participating in the Natrona County foster care program, system, whatever you want to call it, now for a little over a year. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And in the year that you've been doing it, you have already done 5 cases, which is about 11 kids. That's in a year.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I just am putting that out there so our listeners have an understanding
That's amazing.
of what the need is in our community. You've been doing it for a year and you've already helped and been there for 11 kids. So let's rewind a little bit. And can you just let us know how you became a part of the foster care system?
So my husband and I have always kind of talked about doing foster care. I actually brought... I talked to him before we were even married and asked him if I could bring some kids home that I felt like needed a good home. And he's like, absolutely not. He's like, I don't even know what it's like to be a dad. I can't be a dad to somebody, else's child. And so I put it on the back burner and it came up again and again and again. And then we started having our own children and decided that it wasn't the time. And then last December, January, God just brought it to us over and over and over again. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist, and so I came across several kiddos in the system, and God just said, this is it. This is your time. And so I went home and talked to my husband again, and I met a really good friend of mine who also was in the foster care system and had a child, and her and I started talking, and she's like, you need to do it. And so I brought it up to my husband again, and we just prayed about it and said, this is our time. And lo and behold, I contacted Rose and classes were set up to start the next month. And it was like, okay, this is all feeling, right. And this is definitely what God has planned for us.
So you mentioned classes. I know I personally didn't quite understand what the process was to become a foster parent. Can you just briefly walk our listeners through what you need to do in order to do that? So
the first step is to contact Rose or Amanda at the DFS office, and they will tell you when the next set of classes are and what types of things you need to get started on. The classes in class are 15 hours in class in the evenings and then 15 hours that you do on your own. Then you have home studies, paperwork, background checks, all of those things. Home studies are where someone comes into your home and hangs out with you for a couple hours and gets to know you and your family, what your intentions are, and how you guys live your lives.
Well, and I think it's so important that we let our listeners know about this aspect of it. This is something that they do to make sure that those kids are safe, that the people, to the best of DFS's ability, that are participating and wanting to be foster parents are doing it for all the right reasons. It's not just okay, we need a spot, here you go. They definitely make sure that, like I said, to the best of their ability, that these kids are getting taken care of. Now, we talked a little bit off air about the fact that you have 3 kids and it was really a family decision. Yeah, mom and dad need to be on board to do this, but you were talking about how there's good days and bad days. Can you talk to me about what your kids said the last time you asked them if they wanted to continue to do this?
Yeah, so we had taken some kids home that day.
Which is the end game. Really, that is the end game of foster care, is being able to return these kids to their biological family.
Yep. So as wonderful as those things are, they're still attached to us. And so we were all crying and it was a tough morning. Yeah. And I looked at my girls and said, are you guys done? Is this too hard? Is this too much? And they both looked at me with tears in their eyes and streaming down their face and said, no, Mom, when's the next baby coming?
I love that. Yeah, that means that you all have a heart for it, which I think is something to consider. You need to make sure this isn't just a decision for mom and dad, but that the whole family is on board. Now, you also mentioned that at first you only wanted to do kids that were the age 4 and under because your youngest was 4. And I think a lot of people that are thinking about foster care, that's what they think. But something happened that has completely changed your mind. Can you share that?
Yeah, so in the foster care system, when they have placements that are needed, they send us emails, and you can choose to respond or not. And so this email had come across my email multiple times, and I kept looking at it and thinking, gosh, I don't know that I want a teenager, And so I ignored it, and then it came again. And I said to my husband, I said, Justin, this is God telling us that we need to move forward with this. And so I called Rose and checked in on it, and she came to our house, and we met her, and we decided that this was the plan. And so we took her, and she's been in our home for 3 months, and it's been such a blessing.
Oh, I love that right there. It's such a blessing. And it is funny how you think something's going to happen one way and it happens another way, and it's better than you could have imagined. So I hate to say this, Doc, but I know we have to wrap this up. So can you, Reagan, if there's someone that's listening right now that's thinking about dipping their toe in it, or they've had those preliminary conversations, what would you like to say to them?
So I told you earlier that I have 2 things that are very important, that you need to let your faith be greater than your fear, because that is so important in all of this. And the other thing is that as fearful as you may be of falling in love with someone and having them leave your home, remember that those children's homes are broken and that they need someone to love them also. So don't let that fear of being hurt guide you, because those children are hurting more than you could ever imagine.
Yeah, and you can make a positive difference.
Absolutely.
I love that. Reagan, thank you so much for coming in. For our listeners, if you want to learn a little bit more about Reagan's story, we've got that on the My Country mobile app. And there's also currently a teenage girl that is looking for a long-term foster care family. I believe I said all that right. The phraseology right.
Saying stuff right is not important on this show,
but
Prairie
we
Wife.
have all the information that you need. You can find it through the My Country mobile app.
Yep, Reagan, know that you and your husband, you guys are the heroes. Prairie Wife and I said it before. You guys stepping up, that is absolutely what it's all about. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. We're not doing anything special, just doing what God has guided us to do.